Hello, hello. Hey there, how's it going? My name is Erica Barriga, and this is the second video in the series of getting started and what you need with watercolor painting. So in this video, we're going over the supplies that you need, the essential watercolor supplies. So paints, brushes, paper, palette. You also don't need expensive tools to start. So keep that in mind. This is just what I have, what I recommend, but you don't need it all. I'll go over that. So I love this paper. This is a Canson XL mixed media 7 by 10 inch sketchbook, and it's got perforated pages. It's just so easy to hold. It's not very overwhelming with like this huge space to fill. So like a 9 by 12 or like even bigger. I don't really like those. They're pretty huge and I work small, so I love this. This paper is great. It takes the paint really well. It's a lighter paper and it's versatile, so you can take this out and you can fold it so you can make zines. Zines are little magazines, so that's really fun because after this paper is 98 pounds, 160 grams. So usually the more high quality watercolor paper that you get, the heavier that it is, and it takes the paint differently. It takes the paint like even better depending on the brand. But I love Canson XL. Here is a watercolor paper. This is Arches cold press, and so it has like nooks and crannies. There is hot press, cold press, and soft press paper. So this is cold press, so it has nooks and crannies, which can be good unless it can be a little challenging if you're trying to scan in your work and use it in a different way, like for art prints or something like that. The texture can get in the way, be a bit challenging. When it's hot press, it's very smooth like computer paper. So you don't really have those issues. And then soft press is like hot press and cold press had a baby. It's like medium texture. So that is paper. But to start, get you a sketchbook. It's not intimidating. It's like you have these pages and everything's all in one place as well. When you have those loose pieces, they can get all over the place pretty quickly. This is a spiral notebook, sketchbook. Watercolor paper also comes in a block. So you can get single pages, single sheets that you just cut down, or you can get blocks. So this is the Arches cold press as a block. Everything is glued on the sides all the way around except for a little section. Let's see where my section is. Oh, it's at the top. So when you open it, at the top there's this little section that is not glued, and that's so that you can stick something in there. You can stick a butter knife in there. You can stick this plastic, oh my gosh, I'm like forgetting the word. Anyway, this you can get this in here, and then you can just, let me stick it in between these sheets of paper. Okay, so it like goes right in there, and then you pull through this glue, and then you can just separate that way. So that's pretty advanced, but just letting you know the types of paper that you can have. But to start, highly recommend you get a sketchbook. Easy, not intimidating, really fun to get started. Then a pencil. You can use a regular number 2 pencil. I love to use mechanical pencils because I don't need to sharpen them, and I love to I love a thin point. So this is a 0.3 millimeter. And then I have a separate eraser because I go through erasers like crazy. Look at that. So I have a standalone eraser just right here. The pros of having this is that it's thin again, so I can get into little areas. When I use big ones, you know, just like a pink eraser as well, but that's huge and that's good for just erasing in bigger sections. But when I have little lines that I just want to remove from when I did a light sketch to when I really laid in my lines, I just want to really get in there with the side. And so I just use this little teeny one. So this is a mono 0, and I love these one and done beautiful eraser. Paint. When you start, I highly recommend you start with the primary colors and just learn that. So this is cadmium red, and these are Winsor & Newton. 2 are Winsor & Newton. 1 a friend gave me, and it is Shinhan. Yeah, Shinhan right here. So this is yellow ochre. So you have your cadmium red, your yellow ochre, and then your cerulean blue. So red, yellow, blue, those are the primary colors. All the colors come from these 3. And you just need a little drop of this. When you use these, you can get a palette to put this in. So it's liquid paint in here. You just squeeze out a little bit onto a palette. This is my palette. I have a metal palette. Love this because the paint puddles don't beat up. You can get it plastic or metal. I really haven't seen any other types. I'm sure they're out there, but I don't like the beating up that happens on plastic. And also plastic can turn yellow, so then it's really hard to even see the colors that you're painting because it keeps having that yellow underneath coming through your paint puddles. So it's kind of hard to gauge what's going on. If you invest in a metal palette, you'll have it forever. I think I've had this for probably 15 years. I love this thing. And this is where you squeeze in the paint. I love to be organized with this. When I first got, this is not my first palette. When I got my first palette, it was huge. It was plastic. It was hard to travel with. It was hard to close. And I also just squeezed in paint as I got it. And I was a kid in a candy store when I started painting. I just got paint. I liked this tube and I got it. And then I just put it on here. So, I mean, it was all over the place, not organized. And I learned my lesson pretty quickly that it's better to not have a whole bunch to think about when you're painting. Like have a decision made and just stick with it. So I love having things organized in a rainbow. And then I just know where things are, and I'm not always like hunting around like where's the blue, where's the red, all that kind of stuff. It's in order. So love this thing. You just take the tube, you squeeze some in there. So if you did get this metal one, I would leave gaps so that you can anticipate putting in the orange eventually. But you just squeeze out a little bit into the well, and then you let it dry overnight. And it should be hard, and then you just activate it with water with your brush. So here are the brushes. I love synthetic brushes. They don't hold as much water as natural brushes, which can have squirrel